So you're gonna have a power button on the left-hand side.
Yep.
This is almost like a key on. It's gonna power up your screens, and then you're gonna have your start/stop button. You're gonna press that once. Your engine code is gonna come up. Right now, factory settings 1, 2, 3, 4. Goes blank. What you're gonna do is press this button and hold it in, and it'll start the boat. I'm not gonna do it right now because we're out of the water a little bit, but you actually have to press and hold. It'll almost like when you twist the key and hold the key to allow it to start. And now once you hear it start, you let the button go. Same thing to shut it off. You're gonna press and hold. It shuts off. You let it go, and that's your key.
That's your start.
You can change the code, right? Like I said, the code is 1, 2, 3, 4. You can go in and change the code. So like if we were to power that back up, do that. You can at the bottom left-hand side, it says change.
Yep.
You press change. It'll ask you to type in the code. You type in the code, and then you can change the code to whatever you want.
Great.
But obviously, if you do change the code, make sure they remember what the code is.
Yes.
Any questions whatsoever on that?
No, that's good.
Perfect. But it's as simple as that to power on and off.
That's power on and off. Okay. Wonderful. And so it's obviously important that key is in place, and
you could take that key out if you wanted to. And with the 12-inch screen here, you notice in the top left corner, it'll show you the depth, whatever depth you are on the lake. You have your hours in smaller print here that are always displayed, along with a compass right here in, I guess, right or top side of the screen. You can go if at night you have a little moon here that dims it for nighttime driving. Now your left-hand side here, you'll have your mile per hour in I guess an analog looking gauge, and then you have your RPMs over here. In the center here, you have your speed control, so you'll have your mile per hour set. So this is what your set speed, and it'll go up 0.1, 0.2, it goes up by 1/10. So now, right now it's off, so what you would do is you could turn it on if you want to set the cruise control, and this will be your mile per hour actual. So as you give it throttle and you go up, it'll show you what your actual is. Once you get to 20 mile per hour, it will beep, and it'll hold the speed at 20 miles an hour until you're ready to stop or slow down, and then you just throttle down. In the full center is your ballast system. Okay, those are the 4 tanks that we were talking about before. You have one on each side in the rear, so 2 tanks total in the very rear, all subfloor. You have 1 tank in the center here that's also subfloor, and you have 1 in the front underneath those seats. Now they can either individually be filled or drained by just pressing on either the front, center, whichever one you want. So once you press on it, it'll highlight in white. You press fill, drain, or if it is running at the time, you press stop. Or if you only want it 50%, like let's say you want the front 50%, you would click on it and hit 50%. And once it gets to 50%, it'll shut off. Now the rear tanks will, when you have plug and play, what will happen is they'll read 100% because the hard tank's 100% full. You will have to continue filling them to fill the plug and play bags because they're a soft bag. So what you would do is, once the tanks are 100% full, you open up the backs, and then you would visually see where the soft bags are at, and the hard tanks actually overflow into the soft bags.
Okay.
So that's ballast. Now we'll go over the power wedge real quick here. So this is going to be your power wedge indicator. So right now it's stowed, which means that the power wedge is completely up out of the way, not doing anything. Now you can either manually set it, so you would press one of these squares here. You have vert all the way at the top, you have ramp at the bottom. Now what that means is as you bring the wedge down closer to ramp or on ramp, it's a little bit smaller wave, but it's a little bit more mellow. Now as you bring it up to vert, it increases the size a little bit and puts a little bit more vert lip to the top of the wake. Now this is for when you're wakeboarding, then you have it all the way down like that, it mellows out the wake. As you bring it up, it puts a little bit sharper of an edge at the top, makes it more of a vert wake. Now when you're wake surfing, with the wedge all the way down or closer to ramp, it'll be a little bit shorter, but it'll make it a longer wave. Now as you bring the wedge up, it might shorten up the wave a little bit, but it makes it a little bit taller. It increases the height of the wave. So again, when it's all the way down, it's equivalent about 400 or 500 pounds of downward pressure to the back of the boat. As you bring it up, it can be upwards of about 12 to 1,500 pounds added to the back of the boat. So,
Wow.
now, so between the power wedge and the ballast system, that's how you would control your wake size and your wake size, height, shape, all that stuff. Depending on how many people you have in the boat, where they're located, can kind of determine where you're going to put most of your weight. Now, if you were to fill, let's say, the center and all the rears and nothing up front, and then have a bunch of people in the back, that's almost too much weight in the back. So you'd want to drain, maybe move some people up front, or drain a little bit out of the back and fill the front tanks. Now, when it comes to surfing in your surf gate, which is probably most important to people, and probably the reason why they bought the boat. So you have left surf gate here and right surf gate. Right now it's highlighted, it's in the center. If you want to surf the left-hand side, you're going to press surf gate left. And now what's going to happen is the right surf gate will come out, and it delays the convergence of the water to create a left-hand side surf wave. If you want to surf the right, you hit right, and the left surf gate will come out, creating a surf wave on the right-hand side. Now you can control it through here, and so before the rider's about to go, if they want to surf the left, you press left. It's already set up. It'll say left side ready. Now surf gate, whether it's left or right, will only deploy between 7 miles an hour and 13 miles an hour. So if you're going any slower than 7, it will not come out. Or if you are going over 7 and you slow down past slower than 7, it'll come in. And if you go beyond 13 miles an hour, it either won't deploy or it'll come in for safety reasons.
Gotcha.
You can switch from left to right on the go. So if you are pulling someone surfing, they can switch sides. If you're surfing the left-hand side and they want to try to transfer over, you can go from the left-hand side, just hit right. It'll be about a 3-second delay, and you'll actually hear beeps, and then you can transfer over. It'll switch over to the right-hand side. Cool. Up at the top here on the bar, the 4 bars that go across here, your first one is just going to be simply water temp, air temp, and depth of the lake. This one is your ballast system, along with, and then your last one is your media, okay? But this one's probably your most important. It's rider presets, okay? So it'll have your go home, it'll have your wakeboard beginner, intermediate, advanced, along with surf left and surf right. Now those are the factory settings. You can add an infinite amount of presets, so you can add anybody. You can add, let's say, Tom. Tom surfs at 11 miles an hour, fills everything, puts the wedge at ramp. You can put his name in there, have everything set, so all you would have to do is go into presets, hit Tom, and it does everything for you. So right now it's already factory set up, so if you wanted to surf left, you would hit surf left, highlight it, and press load. Now once you hit load, it loads it in there, and it'll fill everything that you need and put the wedge where you need, set up surf gate and all that stuff, so it'll get everything ready for you to be able to surf left. You can edit, you can delete, and like I said, you can also make a new preset. So you can edit any of these presets, you can delete them, or you can make a completely new preset. Across the bottom, you have engine temperature. Engine temperature is going to be anywhere from stay in the 155 to 165 range. It's right around 160, give or take one or two. When you start going, it might bump up to 165, 166, but other than that, it stays right around the 160 range. Oil pressure is going to be 30-40. As you increase RPMs, it might bump up to 50-60, but it's going to be in the 30 to 60 range. Volts going to be about 12 to 12.5 at idle. Once you start going, the alternator kicks in, so it's going to be about 13.5 to 14, 13 to 14 roughly, depending on RPMs. And then you have your fuel indication here. This blue bar is how full it is, and then it also gives you a percentage. So you get 100% fuel as you go. It'll go, 75 type of deal. It goes by ones, but it'll give you 99%, 98%, 97%. Now keep in mind, the fuel tank is in the center here, so if the boat you are surfing, it may read that the fuel is a little bit higher, so you want to take that reading when the boat is sitting pretty close to level, or you're sitting at idle, kind of similar how we are on the lift. It gives you the most accurate reading. You have your go home button at the very top here. Now this is in case of, let's say you were just wakeboarding, you have everything filled, the wedge is up, the wedge is down, everything's filled, and you have this cruise control set at 22 miles an hour. You hit the go home button, it shuts off cruise control, drains everything, and it'll bring the wedge up for you. So it does everything for you so that you can just cruise home. Now, thing to remember about the power wedge and when you want to bring the power wedge up, or what they call stow, the power wedge, the boat needs to register that it is going approximately 2 to 3 miles an hour, pretty much that it is moving forward. And that's for safety reasons. So if anyone's swimming around the back near the power wedge and you're just sitting there idle and the power wedge starts coming up, they just don't want anybody to pinch any body parts or anything like that in between there.
Yeah.
So the boat has to be moving forward, and it has to register that it's moving forward at approximately 2 to 5 miles an hour before the power wedge will actually come up. You hit that stow button or go home, and you'll see the power wedge move up, and then it will actually give you a constant beep for about 2-3 seconds, and it will say warning, power wedge coming up. And then once it's all the way up, it goes away, and you're all set to go. So that's pretty, and then you have your docking. You have a dock feature here, so if you click this docking feature, you'll actually see it comes up docking mode. Throttle reduced to assist with docking your boat. Basically, you turn the feature off on the bottom right of the screen to return to normal usage. What that does is it reduces your RPMs and things like that to assist with docking the boat, so you can't accidentally give it a lot of throttle and come in too hot.
Gotcha.
So that can be turned on and off by this bottom right hand dock button.